Hey everyone, welcome back to the series on building a dynamic portfolio using React and Firebase. In the last video, we explored how to use Firebase for authentication, store user data, and set up a simple Google authentication system. In this video, we will build a fully functional login page with a proper UI along with main layout and a sidebar component. I have pre-written the code so you don't need to watch me type all of it. I suggest you first understand the code as I explain it, otherwise you might not understand how it works. So let's get started. First, inside our components folder, inside pages folder, create a folder called admin and also create a folder called user. Now inside admin folder, create a dashboard folder, login, pages and settings folder, and inside users folder, create a home folder. Ignore these files for now, I will explain it later. Now inside admin folder, inside the dashboard folder, create a file called dashboardcontainer.js. This contains a simple class component, and we have also imported dashboard view and returning the dashboard view inside the render function. And inside the dashboard view, we have a simple functional component and it has a simple heading as a dashboard view. Next we have login. Inside the login folder, we have logincontainer.js, loginview.css and loginview.js. Now inside logincontainer.js, we have this class component. First we have imported React and component from React for creating class component. Next we have imported connect from React Redux for connecting our class component with Redux. Next we have also imported bind action creators for binding our action function with the dispatch. Next we have imported login view from here, and next we have also imported login user action function from our auth/auth actions. If you have not yet watched our earlier videos, please go and check out our earlier videos. In those videos, we have created login user action function. Please understand those action functions and then continue with this. Next, we have this login container class component. Inside the render, we are returning login view, but you can see we are passing login user action function as props to this login view. Next, we have map dispatch to props function. It is taking dispatch as argument. Inside this we have bind action creators, which binds our login user with the dispatch. This lets us call login user action function as a props. Next we have connect. Connect is taking null as first argument. Since we are not going to use any state in this, we are passing null, and map dispatch to props as second argument. And finally we are exporting our login container. Now inside loginview.js, first we have imported React. Next we have imported Motion from Framer Motion for animation purpose. Next we have imported Lottie from Lottie React. Lottie helps us to display animated image or videos. It acts as a container. And next we have imported animation data from our assets/icons. Inside our assets, inside the icons folder, we have this animation.json file. And next we have imported FC Google from React icons. To make all of this work, we need to install some packages such as Framer Motion, Lottie React, React icons, and we need to download this JSON file from Lottie Animations website. I will show you how you can do that. Note down this npm install string to install Lottie React, React icons and Framer Motion using legacy peer deps. Copy it and put the same in your project's terminal and install. Next, open Chrome and type React icons and select the first link, and you can search here. I will search home and select the second one. As you can see, I get the installation string and how I can use the icon. Like this you can use React icons. Next, open a new tab and search for Lottie files. Click on the second link. I'm already logged in and have existing account, and also I have workspace. I will search loading. This will show bunch of loading animations, and I'm going to select this third one. and click on download and select the workspace where you want to save it. Next, it will redirect you to this page. Here you can see many more options to customize this, and on the right side you can see download and handoff, and below here you can see Lottie.json. Click on download and it will download the file, and you can put this file inside our asset/icon folder. Next we have imported loginview.css from here. And next we have login view function, and we are taking login user as props, and inside return we have this login container which acts as a outermost wrapper. And next we have this motion.div which is animation enabled, and inside this we are passing some props related to animation such as initial, animate, exit and transition. And now inside this div we have this mascot container, and inside that we have Lottie which acts as a container to our animation. Inside Lottie we are passing animation data as animation data, and loop is set to true to make the animation loop again and again. And next we have our content container div, and inside this we have this motion.h1 which is also animation enabled, and inside this we have Fluxer as our website name. And next we have paragraph, and inside paragraph we have text. This is also animation enabled, and we are passing some props related to animation. And next we have motion.button, and inside this there are 3 different props here inside this button. Here on click of button, login user action function is triggered, which we are getting as a props. To apply animation on button tap and button hover, we have these 2 props. And next inside the button we have this FC Google with the props size set to 25. And next we have a span with the text continue with Google. And outside the button we have this paragraph for our privacy and policy. This is just a dummy. This is all about our loginview.js. Finally we have exported loginview.js. Now inside loginview.css I have a pre-written code. I will highlight the part, please note down. From line number 1 to line number 35, and next from line number 36 to 67, next from line number 68 to 77, copy the highlighted code. So this is all about our login view and login container. Next we have our pages, and inside the pages folder we have home folder, and inside home folder we have home container.js, and we are just importing the home view and returning the home view. And inside the home view we have a simple heading, and we are exporting it as default. Similarly, next we have settings folder, and inside settings folder we have this setting container, and setting container is importing this settings view, and we are returning the settings view. And inside the settings view we have this simple heading and exporting it as default. This is all about admin pages. Next we have user pages, and inside user folder we have this home folder, and inside home folder we have home container. This is also similar, importing the view, returning the view. And next inside home view, this has a simple heading and exporting it as default. So we are done with our admin and user pages. Next I will explain this app.js later. Before explaining this, we need to see what is main layout. As you can see, outside our components folder, inside our source folder, we have this main layout. Let's see what it has. Now inside main layout, we have main layout.js and main layout styles.css. Inside main layout.js, first we import React. Next we have imported prop types for checking the type of the props. Next we have bind action creators, which helps in binding action creators with dispatch. Next we have connect from React Redux. Connect is used to connect the component to the Redux store. Next we have also imported logout user from auth actions. And also we have imported sidebar container from our sidebar/sidebar container. I will explain about this later. Next we have imported main layout.css from here, and next inside our main layout class component we have this component did mount. This is a lifecycle method. We will use this if needed. Now inside our render function we are returning a div page content wrapper, which acts as a outermost wrapper. And next we have sidebar container, which we have imported. Inside this we are passing logout user as props to this sidebar container. Next we have main element. This is a placeholder for the child component, making main layout as a wrapper. And here we have prop types check. This ensures that the children is an object and it is required. And next we have map dispatch to props. It is taking dispatch as an argument, and inside bind action creators we have this logout user and passing dispatch. This helps us binding the action to the Redux. Next we have map state to props. Since we are not using any of the state here, it is empty. And next inside the connect we are passing map state to props, which is basically empty as a first argument. You can also pass null, and as a second argument we are passing map dispatch to props. And finally we are exporting our main layout. Now inside main layout I have this styles written. You can pause and copy the styles and put it in your main layout styles.css file. Now once we are done with our main layout, next we have restricted. Now we need to restrict the user from accessing our dashboard pages. Inside restricted we have this auth.js. Now inside auth.js we have imported store from configure store. If you have not watched our earlier video, please go and check out earlier video. We have created Redux store, and from there only we are importing store. This is basically a class, and inside this class we have constructor which initializes authenticated to true initially. And next we have isAuthenticated function. Inside this function, here inside the if condition we are checking if not store.getState.auth.user. If user data is not found inside the Redux store, then we are setting authenticated to false. Otherwise we will set authenticated to true. And finally outside the if condition we are returning authenticated. And next we are exporting new instance of the class so that it can be referenced outside any of the file by importing this. Now inside our index.js, first we have imported React. Next we have imported route, with router and redirect from React router DOM. A route is used to define routes, and with router is a higher order component to access router props. And next we have redirect. This redirect is used if the user is not authenticated, then he can be redirected to the login page. Next we have imported connect from React Redux. Also we have imported auth from our auth. And next we have imported main layout. And now inside our restricted route, which is a functional component, is taking component path and rest as props. We are renaming our component as capital C component for clarity. Next inside our return we are returning a route, and inside route and rest ensures that other props like exact stricts are passed to this route. And inside render we are providing a function which determines what to render. Now inside this function we have this if condition, and it is checking auth.isAuthenticated whether this is true or not. If it is true, then we are returning main layout which we just imported. For the main layout we are passing component as a children with the props. If it is not true, that means user is not authenticated, then inside the else we are returning redirect, which helps us to redirect the user to the login page. Here we have map state to props, which is empty since we are not going to use any states here. And at the end we have exported our restricted route. Here you can see with router is used, and this ensures that the component gets access to router props, and connect is used to connect with the Redux. Now we are done with restricted route. Now let's see our sidebar component. Inside the component, inside common folder, we have this sidebar folder, and inside the sidebar folder we have this sidebar container.js, which is a simple class component. Inside this we are importing sidebar view, and inside the render we are returning sidebar view, which we are importing with the logout user props. Now this logout user props comes from our main layout. If you remember, inside main layout we are importing sidebar container, which is our class component, and to that sidebar container we are passing logout user as props from this main layout. So our class component receives it as a props. From here we are passing this user action function, which is received as props to this class component, to this sidebar view component. So This is how it is working. And we are finally exporting our default sidebar container. Now inside the sidebar view, first we have imported use state and use effect for state management and side effects handling, and next we have imported link and use location from React Router DOM. Link is used for client side navigation without a full page reload, and use location lets us access the current URL location so we can determine which sidebar item is active. Next we have imported bunch of React icons from React icons for our sidebar. Next we have imported the sidebar styles.css, which is here, and next we have our sidebar functional component, and it is receiving logout user as props. And here with the help of use location we get the current path URL. This helps us determine if a menu item should be highlighted as active or not. Then next we have manual submenu open state, and initially we set it as null, and next we have is submit menu active variable. Here we are checking if current URL starts with dashboard/pages to decide if the submenu should be open, and we will set accordingly. Next we have submenu open. If this state is available, then it will set it as the submenu open value. Otherwise it will set the URL match value, that is submenu active is true, then it will set submenu open. Then we have this side effect use effect hook, and inside this, if not submenu active, then we will manually set manual submenu open to null, and this triggers whenever the submenu active value changes. Next we have toggle submenu function. This function inverts the current submenu open state and allowing user to manually open or close the submenu. Next, inside the return function we have this sidebar view which acts as a outermost wrapper. Next we have this heading with the text fluxer, and next we have this HR element which acts as a line separator. Next we have this UL wrapper for the all list items. Sidebar item is nothing but it returns a list item. First we have to see what is sidebar item. Here below I have defined our sidebar item component, and inside this it is taking icon, text, link, is drop down, open, toggle drop down, small, is active, on click, all of these as a props. And inside the return it is returning a list, and here class name is set based on the values conditionally. If it is small, then sidebar item small. If it is active, and if it is not a drop down, then it is set to active, otherwise empty. And we are setting the on click to trigger the function which will be passed. If it is a link, then we will return a link, and we will set to as link. And inside the div sidebar item content we have this icon and the text. All this link, icon, text will be passed as a props to this sidebar item. And similarly, if it is not a link, then we will conditionally render this part. If it is not a link, then sidebar item content div will be rendered, and on click we are toggling the drop down. So basically if this becomes true, then it means the option is a drop down, and it will have a icon, and inside the span we will set the text. If is drop down and open, then we will set this icon, and if it is closed, then we will set this icon. This is how we are conditionally rendering the link and the drop down inside our sidebar item based on the props which we will pass. Now let's see above. Inside UL we are using that sidebar item which we have defined below, and we are passing icon, text, link, and is active. If this path and the location.path name which we have initialized here, if these two matches, then it will be highlighted as active. Here this one is different. Here we are passing icon, text, is drop down. This means this option is a drop down, and submenu open state will be passed as open prop, and toggle submenu function will be passed as a toggle drop down function. And next is submenu active state which we have defined here based on the current URL check. That state will be passed as is active to this. And next, if submenu open is true, this means the option is clicked and it is a submenu, and in that case this submenu sidebar items will be rendered. Here we have sidebar submenu div which acts as a outermost wrapper for the submenu items. Here we have these sidebar items taking icon, text, link, and is active, and small. Small is for styling. Similar like this we have other sidebar items such as about and projects, gallery, and contact. These are basically pages, and at the end we close the submenu open. And next we have main sidebar options such as notification and settings, similar like the insights, and at the end we have one more sidebar item. This is for a logout button. On click, it will trigger logout user action function, making the user log out, and at the end we have exported our sidebar. Now for this sidebar view, I have already pre-written the CSS code. I will highlight the styles, just copy it and put it in your code. Copy from line 1 to line 36, copy from line 37 to 73, and next copy from line number 74 to 110, and next copy from 111 to 146, and next copy from 147 to 151. This is all about sidebar view styling and sidebar view component. Now all we have left is our app.js. I will explain it. Now inside our pages we have this app.js, and inside the app.js first we will import React. Next we will import route, switch and redirect from React router DOM. Switch ensures that the only one route is rendered at a time, and redirect is used to redirect the user to a specific route, and route defines individual routes for different pages. Next we have imported restricted route. Next we have imported all the pages, and here inside our app it is taking match as props, and we have console logged match. And here we have defined a default redirection. Whenever user visits our site, he will be by default redirected to our home page. For that we are using redirect to redirect the user to the home page by default. And next we have an array of user routes. Inside this, all user related pages such as home, about, projects, gallery, contact, all these pages will come. For now we have only home page. And next we have admin routes. Admin routes are restricted routes, and we have all these admin routes such as dashboard container as component and link, and settings container as component and its corresponding link, pages home as component and its corresponding link. Similarly, we have login route. Login routes will have all the routes such as reset password, login, and all those forward password links. But since we are using Google authentication, we have only this one, login container component. Now inside our return we have this switch, and inside at the beginning we have this default redirection, and next we are mapping all the routes of admin routes here. Admin routes dot map each element. For each element we are using restricted route, and we are passing key as element dot link and path as element dot link, and exact props and component as element dot component. So this will be a restricted route. Without user logging in, he will not be able to access these pages. Next we have this user routes. User routes dot map each element. For this we are using simple route, and since this need not to be a restricted route, we are using this route, and we are passing exact as props, and key is equal to element dot key, path is equal to element dot link, and component is equal to element dot component. Similarly, we have this login route. This is also a non-restricted route. It is a normal route, and all these are similar like the above user routes. And at the end we have exported our default app. And now here is an important thing. In our earlier video we set up our auth actions, right? Inside our auth actions we need to change the location link here. When user logs in, on a successful login he must be redirected to dashboard, and on logout he must be redirected to the login page. So make sure to change these two links, and that's it. We are done with our login page and sidebar setup. Next we will see how this will look. Let's run our project. Now as you can see, if I put /home, then it takes me to the home page, which is a non-restricted page. If I put dashboard, then it takes me to this login page. As you can see, it is animated login page, and the animation is running in a loop again and again. And when I click on continue with Google, it successfully logs me in and takes me to this dashboard view. And here, as you can see, we have our sidebar items. If I click on insights it takes me to the side dashboard view. If I click on settings, it takes me to this settings page. And if I click on the pages, if I click on home, then it takes me to this user home page, which is inside our pages. That's it for today, guys. Make sure to watch all the videos and add this playlist to your watch later list. Please like, share and subscribe. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask, and thanks for watching.